to chase it down. But it's just a different aspect. If you want to put the home team in the chase mode, let them feel a bit of pressure of that scoreboard. And if that can happen, you're probably better off in getting a result in your favor, because we know that with the new ball, the start has been a bit of struggle for Zimbabwe.
Post-independence, Zimbabwe saw a large number of blacks making great strides in the sport of cricket, defying the myth of the unwritten code of the pre-colonial era that it was an elite sport meant for whites. This was mainly thanks to a development scheme initiated by the Zimbabwe Cricket Union. This resulted in more black players making names for them both at domestic and international level, notably the likes of Douglas Hondo, Mphumelelo Mbangwa, Henry Olonga, among others, who formed the first group of black cricket pioneers who went on to rock on an international stage.
Cricket was introduced at Shiredinga Primary School in Glenora. I think that was back in 1986 and I was in grade 1. So soccer was the most dominant sport. And then cricket was introduced to Shiredinga Primary School and Highfields as well. But Highfields, I think it was back in 1984. They put up a concrete wicket in the middle of the soccer field. And funny enough, I was not interested in cricket. I was interested in soccer, like what you said. And I used to be a goalkeeper. So in grade 6, our headmaster said to us that if you were not enrolled in 2 sports, you were going to be put on manual for the second term. So we used to play football, which is soccer, throughout or in the second term, and we didn't have a second sport. We used to have clubs, so I used to be in the Boy Scout, and we're threatened by being put on manual. So we all rushed to go join cricket, funny enough, and I only joined it because my brother used to play it. My brother, his name is David Mutendera. He played for Blackpool as well, football that is. So there I was. That's the reason why I joined it. I didn't like playing cricket. I loved football. I loved soccer, strangely. And the rest is history, as you know.
The name David Mutendera falls in the elite group of pioneers to date. Born in 1975 in Highfields, he went on to be one of the most promising, if not the best fast bowler of his time. Their journey was not that rosy, though, for a young man who grew up in the ghetto where football precedes every other sport.
For me, it was never about who was playing in it. For me, like any other sport, if you ask a kid who's kicking around the ball, or throwing around the ball, or running around with a hockey stick, what is the main purpose? What are they getting out of it? What they get out of it is fun and excitement. You know, chasing that ball, hitting it. They feel good when they hit it. When they feel good when they chase the ball and kick it. They feel good when they hit a wicket. That's the same interest that I had with cricket. I never knew where it was taking me. I just enjoyed what I was doing. I loved bowling fast. I used to like just batting and hitting the ball around. I used to get into trouble for breaking people's windows in the high densities of Glenora. You know, there's not much space in the high densities, and we used to play street cricket, and would break people's windows more often because we used to play cricket on the streets of Glenora. So I was having fun playing cricket. Where it was taking me, I didn't know where it was taking me, to be honest.
Not only did things go the very same way in his new chosen adventure as he was to find out.
For you to make the national team, you had to perform twice as better than the others. Good was not good enough. You had to be excellent. I had to make the World 11 team for me to make the national team. You know, I don't want to use names. If another person takes 15 wickets in the season, you had to get 25 and above, or 30, for you to take his position or to you to play with him. Kind of sad scenario, if you understand where I'm coming from, but you had to be extraordinary. Good was not good enough. And that's how you would be seen. You had to be excellent. That's the reality about that. And people might think, hang on, what is he talking about? There were certain players who were also selected who were very, very, basic cricketers, but they still made the team. And I don't want to go into names. And I'm talking about the white players themselves and the black players who were very good, but they were never picked whilst the other was being picked when it was ordinary. Set scenarios, very set scenarios. Difficult times, but we fought through that time. And cricket kept on going. And look what's happening now. We've got a lot of players which have come through. We have a lot of players who have done a lot of things more than we've done. We were basically the pioneers of the black cricketers. And what foundation we've laid, it's wonderful to see. I think we left a legacy for these players. Some of these players who have made it are very, very successful. You know, you look at your Tatinda Taibo, Hamilton Masaka, the very, very successful people in cricket, more than us. And that's a wonderful thing. That's what we want to see. But we want to see it from all races. We see it from all races. That's how sport should be. And it's good to see that the playing field is now level for everyone. Like what I said to you, getting called up after under-19 performance, I think I did deserve it. More than that, to be honest. Not many guys have made the award 11 team. I think it's myself and Tatinda Taibo, to be honest, who have made the under-19 World Cup team. So I think it was deserving, and I actually hit the ground running, if I might say. I think the selection was fair, but it wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? There was a few of us in the team. When I say the few of us, just as we all know, I'm not wanting to be racist here, but it was predominantly white team, and it was just myself and Bangwa. So yeah, you know what? We had to make sure that we gel the rest of the players. It wasn't easy. So team dynamics were not always how you want them to be, but you know what? You always enjoy and you move on in life, and you fight your battles, and you do what's best for yourself and for the team.
Being a young boy rising up at a time when not so many opportunities were availed for blacks, he would later find out that getting recognition, especially if you are black, has to take extra effort. A thing which nearly derailed his passion for the sport he had loved so much.
I think it was always going to be the case, especially if there was always going to be one or two of us in the team. At one stage it was only myself, if I can recall, one of the series. Other time it was always the two of us. I remember the last series I played with the late Trevor Madondo against Australia. It was just me and him. We both played. He was playing as a batsman, I was playing as a bowler. And rightly so, to be honest, Stu, it's kind of right what you're saying, because we never played, I recall, and I'm right about it, especially during my tenure. There was never a situation where I had myself as a bowler opening with, for instance, Pumelo Mbangwa or Henry Olonga or Everton Matambanads. It was always one of us, which was a sad thing, which was a very, very sad thing. But you know what, as players, you were limited to say a lot because you'd be victimized. My job and our job was to make sure that, when we get an opportunity, we play. So we felt like the opportunities were not, were not fair for us. It was more fair for the other. And rightly so it was. And that's the true opinion about the whole thing. And I understand a few black people playing cricket then, but they were there. If I say a few, what is a few? Yes, but they were there who were good enough. Bernard Squarai, myself, Mpumelo Mbangwa, Henry Olonga, Everton Matambanadzo, Prince Matambanadzo, Darlington Matambanadzo, Emmanuel Dube, George Tandy. I can go on. I just felt that opportunities were very limited to fellow black people.
David's breakthrough came in the year 1999. It is the year in which he held fond memories as he made his first-class ODI and Test debuts. What memories does the then 19-year-old boy hold, and the feeling that comes with not only being selected but playing against other big names?
Like what I said to you, I came back from the Under-19 World Cup in 1999 from South Africa, and I was selected for the World 11 Under-19 team. One of my biggest achievements, I must say. And that made Zimbabwe cricket take notice of my performance. And Dave Houghton then was the coach. And I can't remember who the selectors were. Straight after coming back from South Africa, I got called up and by Dave Houghton. He said that you're going to be going to Kenya. That was in October 1999.
Just wide of first slip. And that's 4. Whittle getting a thumb on it, not able to keep it away from the rope. Just on the pads a bit too much at the moment, Neil Johnson, and he's paying for it.
Actually, we had a good team. I remember our team was led by Mark Vermeulen. I also had guys like Alistair Maragwedu was a wicket keeper. We had some very strong characters in our team, and we had a good vibe. When I say good vibe, and that's the thing about it. When we went to this tournament, we were kids. We just loved playing cricket. And if you ask me, every team is going to go to say, we're going to go to the World Cup and do well. We want to reach the semi-final, want to reach the Super 6. And usually when a person does it, when a team does it, it puts pressure on themselves. What we had in our team was a group of players who just wanted to play some lovely cricket and enjoy themselves. And that's exactly what we did. And we went to the Super 6. So we played with so much freedom and fun, and we had so much zeal, good support, good fielding side, good batting side. Mululeke Nkala was one of the players in that team as well. And we beat the West Indies in the group stages to qualify for the Super 6, where we fared decently well against New Zealand, South Africa, and Sri Lanka. Awesome. It was a wonderful feeling. And I never knew then that was going to be my career, because I had just finished my A levels, and I was actually thinking of going to university. That's all I was thinking of. So that motivated me.
Driven by the zeal and desire to be competitive, the young men looked up to some already established bowlers for inspiration. Who were these?
The West Indies, man. I say that with their tone because I grew up watching those guys, and they were more closer to home. When I say they were more closer to home, these were the people from the islands, from the Caribbean, from the guys who were slaves taken away from Africa and taken into Jamaica, into Guyana. So where am I going with this? The West Indies. I used to love Ketley Ambrose, tall as myself. And growing up, I used to run in the streets and bowl. I'd say to the guys, I'm Ketley Ambrose, I'm coming into bowl now. And I used to visualize myself being like him. Awesome. And that never changed. And that drove me to become a better bowler. I used to model myself around him. And the West Indies team back then, during my growing years, was one of the strongest. It was the strongest team, led by the greatest Vivian Richard. They had a quartet of bowlers who were awesome. They used to have Ketley Ambrose, they used to have Courtney Walsh, they used to have Michael Holding, the Whispering Death. Very fast bowlers, Joe Gunner. All of these guys were tall. And I used to see them and I'm like, I can't be like those guys. What can stop me from being like those guys? Those were my role models. That actually drove me to be the person who I ended up being in cricket. I modeled myself around Ketley Ambrose and how the West Indies used to operate on the cricket field.
Well, that was well bowled, but Healy was pushing out a long, long way there. Wasn't waiting for the ball to come to him. He's eager to get the bat on the ball. And now for Ketley Ambrose, 28.
The primary objective of a bowler is to get the men out.
So Ambrose is now on a hat-trick.
It is not easy as one would think. And how did David feel when he hit for conceding big runs and the feeling it brings to the team and individual?
It's not good, but with every sport, you always got to keep going. You got to keep trying. You never give in, you never throw in the towel. And as a bowler, you've got a certain amount of balls. So your over is made of 6 balls, as you all know. So if you get hit for a 6, don't drop your head. Because the next ball, if you ball it in the right areas and keep trying, you always get in with a chance of getting out the batsman out. You've seen so many times where a batsman can smack someone, let's say, for 2 6s and a 4. The 4th ball, he gets the guy out, he gets the batsman out. So you always got to keep trying. And at the end of the day, sport is there to be enjoyed. So if you're not going to enjoy yourself and you're going to throw in the towel, you're not trying your best. You always got to give your best. You got to keep trying. Obviously, it's difficult, but that's when you need good team players around you to support you in those difficult times.
That's over the top. Couple of bounces, 4 more.
Bowled against 2 guys, if I can be honest with you. Sachin was difficult. Sachin, I got him out. Why I say that? But he was so solid. Very good stroke player. Sachin will hit your good balls. You know, sometimes you get, as a bowler, you can bowl a bad ball. You can say, no, I've bowled a bad ball. Sachin will hit your good ball. And that will start make you think, hang on, where am I going to bowl it now? Sachin, yeah, was one of the difficult. But I'm glad I got him out twice in a 3-day game with Mumhari, which I can say proudly because he's one of the greatest players. And I know that if he's going to watch this, you probably think, what is he talking about? Well, he only got me out twice. But what a wonderful player. And I was privileged to bowl to him. Other one was Rahul Dravid. Oh, in the same game as well, I just couldn't get the ball past him, if I can be honest with you. This is how solid he was. When I say I couldn't get it past him, everything was just behind the bat. He was so solid, strong. He was not going to give you a sniff. You know, some players, they can edge, miss, but Rahul was awesome. And the last one, for me, Ricky Ponting. Oh, destructive batsman. Ricky could hit any ball. He could drive, he could pull, he could do everything.
No. Fingertips job. A little bit of in-swing, and that's it. He's got it through the gap. And back he comes for his half-century.
Just like everyone else, David is no exception. A fine boy who had thought he had done everything to be where he was, only to suffer the consequences of the time. He found himself dropped from the national team. How did that affect him?
I've got some regrets in my life, and I think if I have to give myself some advice is that I should have persevered quite a lot. I think my career ended prematurely. It ended at a very young age. I got frustrated because I got dropped from the national team after having done well against Bangladesh, and that frustrated me. I tried after that for about 3 years, but I threw in the towel quite early. So what I would say to myself back then, what I should have done back then, I should have persevered. I should have been more open to criticism. I should have taken a look at myself rather than blaming other people who had not selected me. I should have looked at how I was playing and then go and work on it. And that's something that I regret doing. I also would have told myself to have fun. I stopped having fun. And I think what caused that was because I had a contract and then it was never renewed. I got frustrated because of that. Now I was thinking of the bills, etc. I forgot to enjoy myself in cricket. I forgot to enjoy myself in sport. And I then realized that after I was now 34, 35, that these are the certain things that I would have done. I forgot to have fun. I forgot the reason why I started playing the game in the first place. I stopped doing that, especially in the national team. But pressure caused me to do that. But if I had known back then, I would have excelled even further. Most memorable, it has to be playing against Australia. ODI in Zimbabwe. We played 3 ODIs, and I got Gilchrist, Adam Gilchrist, twice. One in the first ODI, I think another one in the third or second ODI, I'm not really sure. It was a wonderful feeling for me because those were my first international wickets. Yeah, I would say those for me were the best moments, and also my best figures in ODI cricket, which were I think 3 for about 15 against Bangladesh. That was the last match that I actually even played for Zimbabwe. Those are the 2 memorable moments for myself.
44 years later, the integration of blacks in cricket continued to grow, with notable locals being counted as exceptional talent, notably the likes of Tatenda Taibu, Hamilton Masakadza, Elton Chigumbura, and Prosper Utseya, among others, though it came at a cost as the transition was well received by mainly the senior guys.
With change comes a lot of things do happen. I think it was said that in 2003 we had a lot of players leaving, or there was a rebellion, which was not done properly from both sides, and that kind of made our game to dip, and then it dipped for a long time. Remember, we had to pull out of playing Test cricket. That said, the transition there was poor in terms of, like what I said, from the top and from the players themselves. Then that made our game dip, and then we started rising again, because the kids that they'd taken over got the experience and they started playing well. And then from there again, it was now trying to catch up with your top tier teams like England, Australia, Bangladesh were now moving ahead of us. So that was a sad bit where we have a situation where now we are finding ourselves being now very, very competitive with Bangladesh and Afghanistan at the same time, where we should have been. If not, we should have been ahead right now. But the game has come back, and we're competing well again. And I look at the situations where we've done well in the last T20 World Cup that was in Australia. Said that we did not qualify. Again, lips and bounds. But very talented players out there, very exciting players that we have. And we've got a lot of players to pick from. And that's the beauty about it. So it's been lips and bounds, but the game is alive. The game is alive and well. And that's what's the most important thing, that our school structures are good. Our first-class structures are good. What we just need to do now is to make sure that our franchise, first class, we got to make sure that we bring in players who are more competitive to toughen up the players that we have already, and try and also get other players from outside the country who left to look for greener pastures, to lure them back so that our pool of selection becomes bigger. The game is alive. If I can be honest with you, cricket is the only sport, hear me, it's the only sport in Zimbabwe where guys can play it professionally at franchise level and at national level. Let's face it. I know in football it's different because guys go to different clubs around the world. But in Zimbabwe, you've got guys who earn a living playing franchise cricket. And when they play Test cricket and ODIs, the world is there for them to take.
Today, the ex-Chevrons fast bowler is now working as one of the national convener of selectors, as well as a coach at a local college. What memories and experiences is he imparting on the youngsters as he reflects on his playing days?
I've learned more in coaching than I did when I was playing. That's why I've learned a lot of things that I wish I had done when I was playing. There are a lot of things that I tell my players, a lot of things that I see them do on the cricket field. And then when I tell them and I see them excelling in them. It's such a wonderful feeling for me. If I can be honest with you, I'm enjoying my job now more than I did playing. Playing, it offered me more in terms of remuneration. But coaching, it's got this fulfillment. I'm changing people's lives. It's a life skill. I'm teaching people about life. It's no longer about cricket. It's a life school. I'm teaching kids to be leaders. I'm teaching kids to be fighters. I'm teaching kids to show humility. I'm teaching kids on how to persevere, endure, have fun, and build their lives. For me, when that happens, when I see a kid excel in a sport that he or she likes, I'm happy. And those are some of the things that I wish I had known back then when I was playing. It's such a wonderful feeling, and I don't stop learning. I don't stop seeing new things or learning new things in coaching. It's such a wonderful feeling to be part of a technical team, rather than being the player himself. Some of the things that I'm teaching the players now, I used to be told by my coaches back then, but again I was so hard-headed, that I didn't want to listen. I thought, oh no, why is he putting the blame on me? Why is he always like saying, oh, you're not putting in effort? But I do the same with my players, but I've got a different way of talking to them. Because players, they interact different, or they respond different to different types of coaching. Some can't respond to hard coaching. Some can't respond to a situation where you're too nice to them. So you got to find a balance. And I think also I did not have a similar situation like that. But I should have known better as well, and I should have listened more to my coaches. That's the advice that I can also give my coaches, because a coach has got a lot of experience. I never knew back then what they meant about having experience. Experience is being there, done it. No failing and knowing that, hang on, I've been that road. I can't go that road. Or I can negotiate the road this way. You can never buy experience, but you can only earn it. So kids out there, the advice I can give them in myself, which I didn't give myself back then, listen to your coaches. Don't blame the next person. Always look at yourself and see what you can do better to better yourself in anything that you're going to do in life.